But Jacob said, I will not let you go unless you bless me. But here's the thing. Hadn't Jacob been blessed already? Right? I mean, we've been walking with Jacob for several Sundays now. And we can remember easily how he already stole his blessing. The blessing that should have gone to his little brother, but Jacob dressed up like Esau and tricked his father into giving it to him. So Jacob's already been blessed. But he clearly didn't feel like it, did he? Because here he is wrestling with somebody. He wants his blessing. He wants to know that he has his blessing. So I found myself asking, why didn't he believe it? I mean, maybe he's feeling remorse finally after 20 years. Probably about time. He might also be feeling a little bit worried. He's actually on his way back to his family. And he's been given word that his brother Esau is waiting for him with 400 men. That's a little intimidating. You know, he stalls. He kind of sends forth his best assets in his place. I mean, if you were kind of like the prodigal kid and you had been gone for a long time, showing up with a whole raft of grandchildren is probably your best sort of forward approach, don't you think? 11, that's a lot. So while Jacob's done that, here he is today wrestling in this in-between place. Comes away with a limp and assurance that he's been blessed. Now, we don't exactly know who Jacob is wrestling with. It's kind of ambivalent, right? Sometimes it says it's a man, but then God's talking to him. So it could be an angel. Sometimes angels in the Old Testament then turn out to be God after we've spent some time there with them. It's like, oh, surprise, I'm really God. Some people suggest that he might also be wrestling with himself. It's a great place this, because he has a blessing, but he needs to know that it is his. So I want to pull out the picture for today. If everybody has a color copy, there's some really good color in this one today. The artist calls it tangled blessings. Tangled blessings. So have a look at it. What's all tangled up there? What are they wrestling over, and what's going on that you see?
His hair.
His hair. That's right. I love the hair, because the hair is a mess, right? And the hair is kind of tangled up with each other. And do we know which one's Jacob and which one's the other figure? No. Can't tell, right? They're all tangled up. Anything else that stands out to you in that picture? And online congregation, feel free to chip in too, please.
Well, somebody has a halo.
Yeah, well, it can't be Jacob with a halo because he's trying to get in.
That's an interesting thought. There's all those circles, right?
Yeah.
And they surround one of the figures' heads, but what else are those circles doing? They're connecting them. They're actually kind of entangled in them, aren't they? They're like stuck in, it's all like it's holding them in this moment where they're trying to figure something out together. Anything else you notice that stands out to you?
It looks like one of their eyes is looking down and one is looking straight at the other person.
Yes. So one of them is willing to make eye contact, the other one's not so sure. Which one do you think is Jacob?
One on the left.
The one that's not quite looking them face to face. Because if he looks, he might learn something about God and about himself. Anything else important that we need to.
Well, one is definitely reaching out to the other.
Yes.
Pulling him in.
And the other one kind of has the ear, right?
Right.
You know that expression, I have his ear? Goes a couple of different ways, doesn't it? So, what I love about this story and this picture and the idea of them being entangled is that we know that Jacob comes away with his blessing, knowing that he has his blessing. And we know that part of that blessing is that giant family of 11 children, right? And he becomes a blessing to all nations through his family, through his progeny. And he makes it home, and there's more to come in the story of this great family, because we're going to keep going with it as we move forward. I think there's something in the fact that sometimes we have to tangle with or wrestle with God and with ourselves to understand the blessings that we have and how they're going to play out in the world for us. We don't always believe it about ourselves, and that's not just us. I think everybody's like that. So I spent this week, I was at 2 conferences this week. I was at a big one in Texas called the Unconference that was for all sorts of people in bivocational, doing either preparing people for bivocational ministers. We even had a bivocational bishop there. Just people from all over the Episcopal Church. That was pretty cool. And then I was at the Glimpses of a Dream conversation for our diocese yesterday. So we've been thinking about this stuff a lot. What are our blessings? So we learned something really interesting. They had the data guy from the church pension fund. That was the first night at the conference I was at in Texas. And he did all sorts of data about the church. More than 50% of congregations already in the Episcopal Church, like this is not a coming transition, this has already happened. More than 50% of congregations in the Episcopal Church are being served by a clergy person who receives some or all of their income from another source besides the congregation. Either they have another job in the world, or they have another job in the church, or they're non-stipendiary, or the congregations are lay-led and there's a clergy person that comes in from time to time. All sorts of models happening out there, by the way. But that is the norm of the Episcopal Church. And it's not, apparently not, the idea that every church will have a full-time professional clergy person is a kind of a 20th century thing, but before that, that's the way the church ran too. And not just here, but like, think of the Church of England, right? The parish model was like that. All those village vicars, they also had fields to farm and all kinds of things that they did. But the other thing I learned that this is a blessing, because by being in that model, we are freed to be the church together, to be in ministry together. It turns out that when you pay someone to do all the work, they hold on to that sometimes. It happens in the church. And it means that all y'all, I was in Texas, I get to say that, all y'all don't get a chance to discern and use your gifts in the same way that you might otherwise have. So we were asked a really good question. Given that we are blessed to be church in this way, to be these kinds of churches, we had a panel and they were asked a question, and that is, what is it that you want the world outside of your congregation to know about your church, its ministry, its life, its faith, whatever? And by world, it could have meant the town that you're in. It could have meant your diocese. It could mean the Episcopal Church. It could mean, the world that's looking at Christianity and trying to figure out what on earth they're up to these days, right? But what is it that you want the world to know about this blessing that you are and have to offer in the world as followers of Jesus in your unique place and serving in the ways that you are uniquely called? it was really powerful to listen to some of these stories. But I want to invite you all to try that today too. So we did this at actually 8 o'clock. There were 13 people at 8 o'clock, half of whom were either first-time visitors or people who have only been with us for around 6 months or less.
Wow.
There was a great conversation that we had. But we're going to have the same conversation here. Either turn around, group up, 2s, 3s, some people you may not always talk to, but I'm going to give you about 5 minutes to talk about this conversation. And if you're online, maybe think about it for yourself, think about it with if you have someone else in the house that you can talk with. But please, everybody have a chance to reflect on this. What is it about us, St. Philip's, this community of faith, and that you want the world outside us, whether that's Scotts Valley or the diocese or Santa Cruz County or something bigger than that, to know about our church, our life, our ministry. So give you about 5 minutes, go ahead and group up and just have a quick conversation about that.
Hi there.
Is there anyone that doesn't have someone to talk to that really wants to talk to someone? I mean, it is okay if you reflect by yourself too, but I would love for people to. Did you want to join the group? Okay, that's good.
Come on over,
I understand, all too well. If it didn't happen, it would be a big
That it's here.
number one. Number two, that we're, yes, thank you. You beat me to it. No, that's fine. You're waiting.
Like talking to me.
We're open to, I what to say, I hate to use the trite one that wherever you are on your walk.
Well, what do you think? What do you think Scotts Valley knew about this?
Like you're saying, they have all these first timers.
Well, initially it was a place for
forever.
more family oriented.
Seen all the
folks who live here.
different changes going on, and
The town
that
is
we are
evolving.
open to change, and there are different stripes
So it's just difficult to use that
of
part
the
of
Episcopal churches. There's some that are, the high church with all the smells and bells, and there's ones that are lay led, and I hate to say it, but wagon train, wagon
not
train
quite sure how to say
Christianity.
religion nowadays.
So,
It's a generational thing that
There's opportunities
give examples when they're private
to start
back
to
into the church.
and I think that's what
Get ready to marry or
the church do.
going to some sort of religious upswing in their lives.
Right.
But it'd probably take a tragedy to do it.
I think so.
You know, get into
If we give them all the basics for so
stuff,
that
you know,
they're kind of on their own.
in the yard, fine.
My college years, I got away from
We
the
like
church
to
Me too.
redecorate or whatever.
Right.
The one with our highlights,
When I went to LA, it wasn't something I worried about on Sunday.
Bouncing off that is
Right, of course.
It
He wants
wasn't
to visit.
necessarily part of my criteria
No.
to get up at a 10 o'clock service. When I hit my early 30s,
over the years,
I think maybe
various
my
ways.
single days is probably will come to an end. So I went back to the church.
I go back
Found
to
a
our
great place.
days that we used to do, and,
Episcopal
all
church
of the
there is
different
bad.
What was the name of the church?
St. Mark's.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I have been to that.
LA Diocese, I assume is what it is. Episcopal church. I never was part of the structure of the church. I came up here. So,
Yeah, it's always good.
Yeah.
Good. It's always good.
Because you had a lot of years.
Yeah.
Because you were Episcopalian as a child too, right?
Yeah, my mom was, my dad was Catholic, but the way they were practicing thereof.
The service is set
So
up.
we attended Episcopal church.
We'll have a meeting and then
She got
everybody kind of does
It was fine. Little town called.
kind of a freestyle, free for all.
Beautiful setting.
It goes in all sorts of different
They got over, they had a pond next to
Start over here, I'm talking about
northeast.
the Silk Road or something like that.
North is
Okay, but the thing is, it bounces around, but it's all
town near
back
Clark Summit.
relevant.
Back
Is it
then,
north or south of
What
80?
we started out at.
So that's 80 that cuts across the top of the state, right?
the Pennsylvania Turnpike.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's much north. That's Philadelphia, and Scranton is the northeastern part of the state.
No, I'm thinking about the road that comes across the top, that goes through College Station. You know, it's.
That wasn't there. It may have been a two-lane road, but it wasn't an interstate like it is now, yeah. I know which one you're talking about.
No,
Matter
because
of
my
fact,
mom's from out there.
Scranton goes through, yeah, that interstate goes through Scranton, goes to College Station.
Right.
Kind of the northern
Right.
branch of Pennsylvania. We have the freeway, which
And then
is
you
southern.
keep going west, it goes to Chicago,
Yeah,
keep
right.
going east.
Everything goes to Chicago,
New York,
and splits
yeah.
off and to the west. But,
And you are?
yeah, I was not close to the so I was a participant in Sunday school.
You know your calling.
Yeah.
A lot of times.
It's interesting being one of the adults. They talk different languages. My peers do at that
And
age.
you know what I do? I don't. But you come across a way that you don't want to be served.
So what are you guys doing? What are you guys doing out there?
I don't know. I've had wonderful conversations with you. I so enjoyed hearing about your trip and all of the adventures you had in Michigan. But, you know, I don't know what else I can do. I'm sorry. I don't believe that's true.
I still haven't figured out how to ring that thing gently. Welcome back. All right, I just want to ask a question. What's one thing you heard from somebody else that makes you feel filled with blessing about what God gives us in this place? Anyone have one thing they want to share that they heard that just makes them feel so blessed? Go ahead, Jane.
The person felt there were a number of people in the congregation they could call if they needed help.
A number of people that you can call if you need help. Okay. And online, you didn't get to hear others, so go ahead and share anything that you might have.
We have text.
Okay, what's in the text? Go ahead and read it to us, Steve. Here, I'll tell you what, I'm going to give you the microphone so you can read it out loud.
Anita says, I would like to let the larger world outside St. Philip's know how supportive we want to be given our limited resources to people in our larger community. St. Philip's is here for more folks than come to this church. This is our work as agents of God.
Oh, thank you, Anita. Appreciate that. Anyone else in here? Vicki?
Our group felt like that St. Philip's was a place of love and caring and safety, and that's what we wanted to transmit to the world.
So we provide a place of love, care, and safety. Donna?
We felt like your reach out is growing of the people that we're helping in the outer world, meaning not our people that come every Sunday or pledging people, but we're feeling good about the fact that we are able, as a smaller congregation in many ways, to help, to feel that we can help others.
So that small, but growing. We're small, but our impact is
Right.
huge in terms of who we serve, and that's growing. Actually, that was a really recurrent theme among a lot of the congregations.
So
That
many people need help,
yeah,
that how
yeah.
you turn your back on
And
it. You just
the
reach.
amount of ministry that comes out of congregations like us is amazing. Matthew.
The pantry is a solid example for other parts in the community of how to help people.
Yeah, the food pantry, Pip's Pantry. Anyone online? I want to make sure we don't miss you. Anyone else have something they want to contribute?
I do.
Go ahead.
I'm Beverly. I wanted to make sure that everybody in our neighborhood, meaning Scotts Valley area, knows that our church is available, is here for anybody of any race, any religion, anything, that we are here to help. And that may not be in emotional help, not necessarily with monetary help, but we will do the best we can. And I think it's important that we are a community and we love everyone out there and they are accepted in our church.
Okay, thank you. So we don't check your credentials or make sure you fit in a box. You're welcome here. So thank you, Beverly, for that. That was beautifully said. Doreen, I think you also had something you wanted to say?
Yes, even though I'm quite far away from you and don't get to be there physically very often, I just want to say how comfortable and how real St. Philip's feels. Its building and everything about it is not the traditional church cathedral that one, has often grown up and been a part of. But that does not make me feel less a part of it. I'm glad I have the extra 3 hours in the morning because I'm not a morning person. So
yeah. I love those two words, comfortable and real. Comfortable and real.
And I love the things that you can do for the outside community. The fact that this building is not the traditional cathedral and stained glass windows that you can have. I mean, lots of places can have a food pantry, but that you can house so many people because they're as needed, because it doesn't matter what part of the country or what part of the world you're in, the need for that is astronomical.
Yeah.
And supportive from all of us.
Thank you, Doreen. All right, one or two more people who have something that they heard that make them feel blessed. Go ahead, Kay.
I heard that this is a community that loves to sing and that embraces music and that loves to praise.
We love to sing. We love to pray. Okay, I like this too. Laura.
And we go home feeling uplifted for the rest of the week.
Yeah. Dare I say transformed?
Transformed.
Vestry was talking about that at our retreat, so I'm going to toss that out there. Okay, uplifted and transformed. All right, continue these conversations and come ask me what I heard, because these churches all over the country are having this conversation. So I have two more things for you. First of all, I have some good news. You want to know what the good news is?
Yeah.
Jesus took 5 loaves and 2 fish. And when he blessed them, there was enough. And all ate until they were full. And guess what? They still had 12 baskets left over.
Wow.
We are part of that ministry. We are blessed to be a part of that ministry. We are more than enough. And we are doing so much to spread God's love in the world. And we are blessed by that. And then I want to bless you. This is kind of a fun blessing. Jesus was on a boat today, right? So I got a blessing the boats by Lucille Clifton. So let me bless you. May the tide that is entering even now the lip of our understanding carry you out beyond the face of fear. May you kiss the wind, then turn from it, certain that it will love your back. May you open your eyes to water, water waving forever. And may you, in your innocence, sail through this to that. God bless you all. Amen.
Amen.